9:03 on January 26th. This is the Design and Historic Review Commission meeting. Before we start, I'd like to welcome our new board member, Chris Forbes.
Yes, thank you.
I'll have to get everybody's name down. We got a lot of new members on this board. We have a quorum established. So our first call of business is, has everybody had a chance to look over the consent agenda? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Can I get a second? Second. We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. Our next order of business is election of a chairman. So I'd like to open that up for vote, comment, vote, a motion.
A motion to elect David Mazur as chair.
Second.
Okay, any comment? We have a motion and a second to elect me as chairman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Do we need to do the election of a vice chair? Okay. So next order of business would be election of a vice chair. Can I have a motion? Can I do both? Nobody wants to do.
I move to nominate Stacy Elkins as vice chair.
I second it. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, we will now move into our regular agenda items. We have our first case, CA 22-08, 213 North Chadbourn, a request for a certificate of appropriateness for a new building facade, doors, and windows located at 213 North Chadbourn Street. We open it to staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the DHRC board. My name is Sherry Bailey, and I'm a senior planner here in San Angelo. As you indicated, this is a certificate of appropriateness for 213 North Chadbourn Street. It's on 0.207 acres. It's District 3, Mr. Thomas's district in the downtown neighborhood, and the zoning is CBD. This is a current photo of the subject property that we are talking about. We do not have any information on the historic character of that. We did a lot of background looking in the files that we had and what I was able to get from the library. Other than some of the historic character mentioned that it was at one time an automobile. Was it a dealership? Thank you. It didn't say in the information that we had whether or not they worked on cars or it was a dealership. So in looking at that, as you're well familiar, it is a concrete face presently, and the facade is in need of upgrade, and the applicant intends to do just that. What he has presented is an Austin stone with columns and a base, and new Austin stone off-white on the brick wall. It has black metal entry doors. It has new Lowy glass windows with the bar. It is new metal signage that's going to be painted on the building, and the signage is going to be black. In looking at this from staff's standpoint, both Jeff and I looked at it, and it is in keeping with the use of the property. It is in keeping with the history of the property. The Austin stone is a good addition. Over the history of the downtown area, there have been other buildings that have used Austin stone or some portion of it have used Austin stone. The large display windows, the cast iron look is consistent with the time period, which is 1900 to 1920. Again, we're looking at the Secretary of Interior standards. We considered this fitting within those standards when we evaluated the property. And staff recommends approval of CA 2208, subject to 2 conditions. The colors, dimensions, and materials of all improvements shall be consistent with the renderings approved by the Design and Historic Review Commission. Minor deviations may be approved by the Planning and Development Services Director, which is in keeping with our ordinance. And the applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the Building Permits and Inspections Division. Are there any questions from the board?
I have some questions. Can you bring it back to the picture? And this may need to talk to the applicant about this.
Right, and the applicant is here
Okay, good.
and ready to address that.
On the upper part right there, they say they're gonna have Austin stone and then a faux brick wall right there. Is that what's up on the upper part, or is that plaster, or what? Because what's on there now, and looked at it, it's actually an applied stucco finish with the aggregate face on it.
Right.
And so are they gonna replaster that where the V is, where the big V? What's gonna happen with that? Are they gonna paint that or replaster it, or?
How about we let the applicant address that, because I think he's prepared to
Okay.
visit with you about that and talk with you about what his
Let
intent is.
me open it up for public
Okay.
comment. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for staff? Okay, thank you. We'll now open it up for public comment. If anybody would like to come up and speak about this project, please state your full name for the record.
Charles Corfield, this is Amanda Blackaby, the owner's representative.
Good morning.
Morning. So what's gonna happen with the right-hand side right there? Are y'all gonna plaster that, or what?
We're gonna try to lick and stick plaster Austin stone to that.
Okay,
That's what our intentions
so
are.
like a cultured stone, something like
Yes.
that? So
Yes, sir.
it'll be a brick, an off-colored brick?
We're gonna try to get it to the Austin stone color the best as possible. if it's
Okay,
still
and then
available.
what about up on the top right there? Is that gonna be the same thing on that looks like you got a 1.5 foot cornice or something up there?
At this time, we're planning on putting plaster up there, and the plaster in the middle where the valley vending is. But if it's been 2 years in design, and then we've been trying to get this through the process, but if that were to change, we would just need to take it back to the people at the city hall to amend it. And if we do that, would that be a quick process, so that we don't hold up construction?
Unless they can do it administratively, you would have to bring it back to the board.
Okay.
So
'Cause
that's why we're trying to work a lot of this through. There just wasn't a lot of information on here.
At this time, that doesn't look like the picture that she just showed. There's temporary poles holding up. We're asked during the securing the building and trying to get it so it wouldn't fall down and safe to the public, we're asked to stop work by the permit department. And it's still not even to the point of safety,
Yeah.
but they won't let us do any more work until we went through the
Yeah.
process.
Just to be on record for the board, I don't know if any of y'all went by, the front of the building is actually not there.
We
The
had
car
the-
ran through it and it's destroyed, so.
We had the severe misfortune the night before Halloween of 2021, so it's been a year and 3 or 4 months. Someone left downtown.
You could speak into the mic, please?
Sorry,
Yeah.
we had the misfortune of someone who left downtown and decided to play bumper cars downtown. And they hit some cars across the street, and then they went through our building and then left it. And so our building has been in disrepair and considered vacant. I've stopped receiving mail. My mailman won't deliver my mail anymore because they think our building is vacant. And so we have a big fence in front of it, so we're just trying to get it kind of put back together so we can make downtown nice and pretty.
So what's gonna happen right there below that cornice? It looks like, is that gonna be painted? Are those windows right there where it looks like a dark gray? What is that? What's gonna happen there?
Or below the eyebrow,
Yes,
that's just a different color of plaster.
Okay, so it'll be painted where it looks like windows right there? Yeah, that. So that's gonna be
I guess you-
painted?
Yeah, I didn't know I was gonna do that. So, yeah, that's gonna be a different color plaster over painted.
Okay, and what color is that? We don't have a color for that.
It's gonna be dark gray.
Okay, but generally when we have these meetings, we need like color chips and stuff like that for,
We had that in
and
the
same way with the
file.
black and the white. I mean, there's 50 colors of black and
Right. Well, I brought the
So-
sample of the metal that we're gonna use so that you can see.
I have another question about the windows, a divided light. Are they gonna be true divided? Are they gonna be simulated divided? Are they in between the glass?
Or the IGs are gonna be insulated glass with the mullions between them.
Okay, so the grids will be in between the glass?
Yes, sir.
Is it gonna be clear glass, low E with
We
the
like
green
to-
tint? or
I'd
the
rather use the low
Argon
E,
gas or,
argon gas low E, the 1-inch IGs.
okay, because they tend to have a green tint to them.
Correct. But we're trying to make it efficient, see how that's,
Yeah.
the sun hits that
Yeah,
wall.
we're just trying to keep everything consistent downtown because you can't have mirrored glass or anything like that on them, and then
Right.
that other glass has a greener tint to it.
Well-
What, just for my own deal, what size are the doors on the front? Is that a
Those are
6.0
6
unit?
If those doors are still available, they're 6-foot doors.
Okay, because by ADA code, you're gonna have a 3.0 door. They opening in or out or what? Okay, is that generally on those buildings like that? I don't know if the fire marshal has changed his thing since we have a new fire marshal. All those doors that's the reason they wanted to recess them back into the buildings. So when they open, they don't open up into the egress. So has staff looked at any of that? Is the new fire marshal gonna allow those doors to open out into the egress? Because
We have not talked to the new fire marshal, but as he submits for his building permit, the fire marshal will review it and will come in and talk with you about that.
This time, we prefer them to open in.
okay, but see, they're supposed to open out.
Right.
Yeah, but then again, when Ross Coleman's here, they kind of changed that ruling a little bit where they allowed them to open out as long as they had like a planter or something in front of it so it doesn't impede egress down the sidewalk. So I don't know what the new fire marshal is gonna say about that.
I don't know either since it's flush. He'll have to
Yeah,
come out
because
and take a look at it.
Typically on those older buildings, they had a recess where they set them back so
Is
they
it really?
didn't open into so those are flush with the sidewalk then.
That's what
I mean, I
we'd
can't
like to
really
do,
tell,
yeah.
there's no elevation on it.
Right.
I have a couple questions. Are those brick columns, those tall ones? That's gonna stay, we're gonna keep the brick, and are those brick as well on the bottom horizontal pieces flanking the front doors?
Under the glass?
Yes. Okay, just curious about that. And there was one page that was read that mentioned cast iron. Something was cast iron.
Cast iron would be the door,
The doors are cast iron, okay. Okay, not the windows. And will your paint colors be pretty close to this rendering?
Do you have any of
everything's very
the color
light.
chips with you or?
Well, the colors are supposed to be in the package that was submitted to y'all, and the type of Austin stones in there. This is the metal that we're planning on using, because,
So that's the color of the white you're gonna use?
Yeah, for the
We
storefront.
see
It's a
that?
good rendering. I like the rendering. It looks great.
They're actually, the pictures are taken off downtown buildings mirrored together,
Yeah, it looks
off
good.
the existing downtown buildings.
I like everything about the project. The only reservation I have is the way the doors go all the way down to the ground instead of having that wainscot on it. And I noticed that staff showed a picture of the 1900 to a 1920 building, but they're not like this. This is a lot more modern.
Those are gonna be curtain walls. I thought we'd put that in the thing. Just a curtain wall like we did on City Hall, on the permit department. The walls come all the way down. On both sides. If you go to the permit department, I'm sure you're familiar with the curtain walls so it'd just be all windows from floor to ceiling.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just looking at I'm looking at the concept. The concept seems too modern for downtown to me. You know, generally, they would have a wainscot on them, and they wouldn't have so many divided lights on it.
In City Hall, the permit department, where the permit department is, the old health department, has the same look with the same glass look as this is, but it has two doors in the middle of it, and it has the curtain walls that go up on both sides of it in that historical building, and we did that.
Where's that at now?
The permit department, the old health department next to City Hall. The curtain wall that goes into the permit department has curtain walls coming down the side, similar to this, but
But are they divided that much?
I can't remember exactly.
That's the only reservation I have. It's just it's just a lot of divided
I can't remember exactly,
windows there.
because it's been 10 years since we put those in.
Yeah.
But I can't remember exactly where the bars are, but
Yeah.
it's similar to that picture right there, but no doors in the middle.
I mean, I like the concept. I mean, that's the only,
And theirs
look
come
like
all the way.
garage doors to me.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, originally they were going to, but then we opted out a different way.
There's currently a garage door
On the
there.
right.
On the
Yeah, I
right.
know, on the right,
And so
yes.
I think that was kind of, I'm the daughter of the owner of this
Yeah.
building, and so I think that was kind of her idea, was to get rid of the garage door, but make it still, you know, seem like it was there, I think was kind of her idea there. Also, we have pool tables and jukeboxes, so we liked that the windows went all the way down so that you would be able to see the jukeboxes and the pool tables from the street. You know, if you had a window that started, you know, hip height or something, the pool tables at least would be difficult to see. As people drove by, I think is kind of what we were,
I have one more question. Is there any exterior lighting?
exterior lighting.
Other than, now, the sign that you see with the V on the other side, that's a steel sign with, there's gonna be a little lighting behind that. Yeah. But at this time, there's no other lighting in that area, other than the lights that you see hanging down the inside.
like underneath the soffits on there's no lights up underneath there at all, like in front of those curtain walls?
Not at this time, no. Just the lights on the inside that will light up. And I'm
Okay,
trying to,
what is happening above the doors there? Is that tile? Is that windows?
glass block,
What
that's
is
glass
that?
block,
Oh, glass block.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we didn't, what style of glass block is it gonna be? I mean,
The
there's,
kind that are in the city hall on the left, or the permit department that are on the left and the right going in the front door, there's glass black wall there.
we don't have that. See, it's hard to vote, it's hard for us to vote on this stuff when we don't know
Understand,
what
we're
we're
trying to do
voting
this on a
on.
budget,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Oh, Okay, my only reservation about it is I would not like to see where we don't have so many divided light. I mean, I don't have a problem with it going down to the floor. I mean, I'd rather have a wainscot on. I think it fits more with the style of downtown of the old historic buildings. That's my thing. I would think it would look better if you just had maybe two dividers and split it in the middle, kind of like that 1920s pictures you were showing us. It wasn't like this at all. These look like garage doors to me. I just don't think it fits in to the scheme down there. That's just my personal opinion. Staff may have board may have other, I'm open for other comments.
Well, my only defense of that is, City Hall, the permit department has that same look on it right now, so, I mean, if that's
I
the
don't
case,
see that,
then
yeah.
that's over 112, 13 years old, and they did it with all the historical colors and everything. And hopefully design when starter
I
control.
mean, I would like to see if staff could show me a picture of that. I'd like to see a comparison of that. But it's, yeah, I still don't see where that is.
If the permit department could take a picture and send it to somebody's phone now, so we could conclude. I'm just thinking about how to get it out of dead water.
One of the things that, when we were doing the research on the building, and it was the auto dealer didn't have that many lights in it, but they did have the same concept with the glass going all the way down.
You know, it's just like across the street, that's the way they did it. It's just with so many divided lights, that's where I have an issue with it. That's just my,
Would you like it better if it had fewer divided lights, but still went all the way down?
Yeah, that's why I don't have a
Or-
problem with that. If you'll
Okay.
look at that 1920s picture that's not on this thing, but they divided it, but they don't have that many. You know, if it was
So-
3 and then split maybe halfway up or a third of the way up, I think it's just a little modern for downtown. It just doesn't fit that street. But everything else looks good on it. I mean, because those doors are already been used over on on a project on Beauregard Street. So,
Yeah, that's,
Submit a new deal if we were to do less dividers in the window.
yeah, we would have to see it. And see, the thing is with the glass block too, I had no clue that was glass block. Now you've got a mixture of modern with,
so can we resolve with getting permission to move forward with the project, less the conversation of the doors, and we'll take it back to her mother, who's the owner of the building? Go ahead, sir.
Are these the ones you're talking about?
Yeah, but can you get that picture right there?
like I said, I'm opening it up to the board. I mean, I'd like to have some other comment, what
Is it
everybody else thinks.
Possible
I
to let
mean,
them move forward and then they can submit the
Right now, we have
details
2x6s holding everything up.
next
which is-
meeting?
And I've got engineered drawings from S&K to go in there and put the proper steel
I
in.
mean, yeah, I don't like slowing projects down and, you know, it's just, for us to vote on something, or my personal opinion, I've just got to have a lot more information than what I'm seeing here. You need, yeah.
I see what you did there. Very clever. Could we have permission to begin the process, and then we could modify the glass like you suggested, and get you more information on the glass block as you suggested, and come back with that information to
That's going to
you?
be something for the staff to decide what, that'd be Zach's. I don't know if we can do
Yeah, we
that.
can do it conditionally and bring it back as soon as they
No,
get us.
but would that have to come back to the board again, or can it be done administratively? The board would have to vote on that
I mean,
again.
They could leave it.
I mean, in past experience, we would have to vote on that again, because it's not something that could be done administratively, unless the board
Unless it's
votes to let somebody else make that decision.
Right, unless y'all made it discretionary for John, the director, we could bring it back to y'all as well, whatever y'all decided. and
But they could
conditioned it.
still begin work,
We could maybe do something where we can get rid of that fence and whatnot, that's all sitting.
Yeah,
construction.
because I'm
Because
sure
they're
you're
not
gonna, are those gonna be, you're gonna order those big doors or
Yes,
whatever?
sir.
So that'll have to be, because if you do something different, you're probably gonna have like Angelo Glass or somebody, a glass company, build that frame, because it would be different than what you've got right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems to me like we don't have all the information, and even if you did get the doors, I mean, opening them in and out and getting the fire marshal to come out, I
That'd
mean,
be
he's
during the
a different
permit-
guy.
That would be during the permit process, it'll come out which way they gotta
To
open.
do
Yeah,
it.
the permit, yeah,
If
that,
we
we
could
don't
get-
deal with any of the permit stuff.
If
Okay.
we could get conditional approval with the understanding that they would come back on those elements, they could get started on the interior work, submit for their building permit, meet with the fire marshal, get all of that.
Yeah, because
work
that really,
Moving
the
forward.
permit office doesn't
Yeah.
care what kind of doors and what, I mean. if
They
it's-
don't.
Yeah, and he
Board-
said that he had the paint, he submitted the paint chips, and, but we didn't have that in our packet, so to make sure we have all that information too.
Okay.
So paint colors and everything.
Well, he passed out, did you pass it on?
Oh, well, I know, but we don't have that stucco color, we don't have
Yeah,
that gray
exactly.
color, all we have is this.
Right.
We can come back with.
Well, we called out the,
Information.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
They
I don't
did-
want to hold up the project either.
They did have the sheet that,
You don't
that
have
was
that?
in there.
You know, that doesn't have the stucco color, it doesn't have the
on
faux brick
there?
color, doesn't really have anything on it. And
I
then
just
the,
assumed that everybody knew what Austin Stone looked like, and then, the tan southwest color, that's, okay, because that's the color of the plaster, so, but,
okay,
whatever.
any more discussion? Anybody got any questions for the applicants?
No.
Okay.
Well, if we get permission, what I'd like to get permission to do is proceed with getting a permit to at least get the steel in and start ordering the steel doors, because they're gonna take a while to get here. and then revisit the glass block is what I understand you wanted
Yes.
to do, and revisit the curtain walls on the left and right of the doors, and try to come to some kind of compromise on that. Is that?
On the windows up top, are they gonna be vinyl, metal? What are you gonna do up there, those divided
They're
light?
gonna be,
What are they gonna be?
those are gonna be inserts in wood at this time,
They'll be true divided with wood?
yes.
That's good. I mean, that's the mullions are gonna be wood?
No, the mullions would be between the glass, the
Okay,
aluminum, and then there were wood frame around it inside.
No,
and
I know,
out.
but what's the actual window? Aluminum window?
No, it's
Vinyl?
just gonna be set in wood like the old buildings were at this time, but we can do a vinyl insert.
Okay, well, because how you gonna get a divided window, just a piece of glass with the
One
mullions
inch
between
IG.
unless it's a window,
Yeah, 1 inch IG with mullions in them.
yeah. Okay. Okay, anybody have any other questions for, okay. All right, thank you. We'll have to discuss this during, when we open it up for discussion to the board. So now, anybody else have anything, comment to say on this project? Dale? Please come up and state your name.
Hi, Del Velasquez, I'm the Executive Director for Downtown San Angelo. I just want to make sure that y'all understand, if they start work on the exterior part of any of the building, and they're going to apply for tiers funds, that won't be permissible. So just
That's correct. And the next tier's cycle is not for another,
and it starts in April.
yeah, for another 3 or 4 months, so.
When do you decide on the awards? Like, when do you award the tiers?
It'll probably be the April, May, June, probably in July, August.
And per the tiers board, you can't start any of this work until it's approved by the DHRC and approved by tiers.
I think that we, at this point, would just like to get the building done. If we're
Yeah.
gonna have to wait till
Yeah,
July. to
we
get the
applied
building-
last year and got denied because y'all hadn't approved it yet.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
it's been a year and 4 months so far with a fence in front of our building.
yeah,
I think at this point, we would just like to get it.
sure, no, I understand. It's just, if we approved it today, you still couldn't start till after tiers
Right,
approves
so
it,
that's
so
what I'm, that's
you're
what I'm
another.
getting at. I think
Yes.
that we'll probably just self-fund it.
Yeah,
Main thing is we want to get it safe again, because by no means is it safe at this time.
I'd
yeah,
also like to get my mail.
yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll close public comment, open it up for the board for discussion. Somebody want to make a motion with the circumstances? I can, or,
I move that, so we get this right, we approve based on all of the information today that they may start work with the condition that, I guess, the next meeting, we are able to see specific paint colors, glass block options, and the divided light revision.
new design on the light, yeah. Okay. Can I get a second? So we have a motion and a second. Is that sufficient for staff? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to our next case, CA 22-09, 36 East Tuick, a request for a certificate of appropriateness for replacement of canopies and repainting of door and window trim located at 36 East Tuick Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you indicated, this is a request for replacement of awnings on this piece of property. This is at 36 East Tuick Avenue in District 3, Mr. Thomas's district, downtown neighborhood, and CBD zoning. You will all recognize this building, I'm sure. This is the north side, looking north at the building, looking west at the building. The items in question are the awnings, and you can see the condition of the awnings. They went through a couple of storms and were severely damaged, and the applicant wants to replace them. These are current photos, the cloth canopies, they're deteriorating, as we said, due to the weather elements. They were the old-fashioned awnings with the white stripe on them. You can see the historic photo from 1929 that was provided, and the awnings in the 1929 was very similar to what is existing on the property today. What the applicant would like to do is replace the awnings that suffer every time there's a hail and bad weather. Replace them with a metal, with a colored coating on it with the same basic proposed design, the same feel as the cloth awnings, and it will be the dark green color, which is very similar to the existing cloth green color. It will have a square bottom, and then will be surrounded with a dark gray, and the paint color is the example that's shown on the screen right now. Looking at the city's historic preservation design guidelines, metal canopies can be considered. It is in the interior secretary's design elements if they maintain a similar look and color to the existing cloth canopies. In this case, the evergreen canopy color and the gray door and window trim is consistent with the historic color palette that they intend on using. The early photographs did show you what the original design was on them. The shape of the canopy, the metal canopy that the applicant is proposing to put up is very similar to what those original cloth design was. Staff went through and went back and forth looking at and I apologize, they did bring in a sample of the metal and the color, and I forgot it, and it's my fault, but the color is the dark emerald evergreen spruce color that is very similar to the green that's on there now. And the metal design will be what is in the photos. Staff reviewed it, looked at it, went back and forth for quite a while. The colors, dimension, and materials of all the improvements should be consistent with what was on the building before. So if the DHRC board approves the request, staff has recommended 4 conditions of approval, and I'd like to go through those now, if that's okay. The first one, the colors, dimensions, and materials of all the improvements shall be consistent with the renderings that were provided to the DHRC board, and minor deviations may be approved by the Planning and Development Service Director. The applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the Building Permits and Inspection Division. The applicant shall obtain a right-of-way encroachment application and approval from the City Council for the canopy encroachments over the public sidewalk. And an item shall be brought to City Council revoking the previous license agreement for a canopy and 2 light fixtures facing east Tuig Avenue, recorded as instrument number 201-606-395 before the agreement for the new improvement is recorded. And with that, are there any questions from the board?
I have a question. On the other staff recommendations that y'all did, on one part of it, I know the city adopted a new historic downtown guideline, in other words, and there's like
Yes.
high priority, medium priority, and this one is a high priority
Yes, it is.
building because it is historic. Does that not have any impact on changing from a cloth awning, which was originally put on this building when it was built, and then now we're changing it to metal? That's my only question is,
Because the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines does allow for the exchange from the cloth to the metal, as long as the basic design and color are similar to what was there originally. That is why we included that in there. And that's the back and forth that we did, and we wanted to bring that forward to you. We believe that what the proposal is very, very much like the design that was there originally. The slope on the canopy is the more angled slope. The edge of it is more like the historic. The color is the dark green. What it's really.
even though they're changing it from green and white, now it's
Right.
solid green.
Now it's solid green.
Okay. I mean,
And that is what we felt you needed to make the decision on.
Okay. That's my only question. Anybody have any questions for staff?
I'd like to see that item 3 and 4 again.
3 and 4? Yes. The right-of-way encroachment, we are getting encroachments on all of those extensions that project more than 6 inches out into the public right-of-way. In this case, we felt it was necessary to get an encroachment permit. And then there was another, historically, I think it was 2 or 3 years back, there was a previous license agreement that was approved for one of the sections of windows that was going to have a different client that resided in there. And we are asking that just be recalled at this point and go with the same, the design of that one was different than what this, what the applicant intends, and we would like to see the same design overall of it.
Been approved, why are we revoking the pre-approving?
Because what they approved on just that small section of windows would be different, if you approve this, would be different than this. So we wanted to revoke that and have it be the same as this.
Or that was something approved that you're trying to take away?
Pardon?
Item 4,
Yes,
I think they're just trying to clean that up.
we're just trying to
You know,
clean
to
it
get that
up
off the books and
Yeah.
then bring in the new ruling on it.
and make it all consistent on the building.
I was trying to understand that too. So I guess previously there was something submitted. Now we're going to do more and just
Right,
taking that
now
out
we're
and
going to
putting the new.
do
Okay.
So that
all
really
of
needs
the
to go
awnings,
away.
right,
Obviously, I want to address that.
yeah.
We'll do that in a second. I thought on the encroachment, I thought they changed that to 16 inches several years ago instead of 6, because some of those buildings already have cornices that stick out. That was my understanding dealing with the fire marshal on a bunch of these projects. So I may be wrong, I don't know. I think it's 16 because they wanted to be able to put a
The
planter
new
out there.
encroachment was about
I
a
mean,
year
it's
ago.
irrelevant to this deal, but I just,
Yeah, it was very recently, and it was past 6 inches, because we know there are doorknobs and light
yeah,
fixtures.
that's what I mean. So I
that-
thought that the cutoff was
but it-
16 inches.
It's only 6 now.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions for staff? Okay, thank you. We will now open it up for public comment. If Mr. Pfluger would like to, please state your name, sir. We know you.
Lee Pfluger. I'm in District, whatever it is, owner of the property. I'd like to go through answer whatever questions you may have, maybe opine a little bit on the canopy situation. I'm with you. I tried it for 30 years, I kept putting the fabric back on and the fabric back on and the fabric back on. And two things hit in 2000 when I dropped the $2,000 out of the top of the hotel for the millennium year. I thought those balloons were just going to go everywhere. They didn't. They went right straight down the face. They went right down the face of that building and those plate glass windows, and the kids were hitting the plate glass windows. And I was about thought my liability insurance wasn't going to work. But what happens is that wind, when it comes around, it makes a vortex. Would that be right? And it just goes straight down on top of those awnings, and they just whistle coming down through that deal. Long term, the metal is just kind of the answer. I'd keep putting the fabric on them if I thought there was any real benefit to that, but it's for long term. When I'm not here, the metal's going to be able to stay. I have the color, if you want to see the metal color. Kirby Hartman, and that's the picture where you saw there's a picture of an actual metal awning out there.
Mm-hmm. So it'll have like a standing seam roof on it, basically.
Yes.
That's what
it'll be-
it's
it'll
not
be-
R panel or any of that stuff.
No,
Okay,
it's standing
good.
seam,
Yeah,
and
I think it'll be good.
Shiny or matte or?
No, it has a matte
Matte?
finish. It's
a little
like
bit of
dull
matte.
finish.
it really looks.
You have
I
a piece
was
of the metal?
I was surprised. He put it up himself. Stacia was encouraging this, and he just built one and put it up there because I was
Yeah, I noticed
really
that
kind of
one was
against
up
it.
there.
But here's what the color.
Yeah.
A little scratchy.
A lot of green down there, Shannon, right across too, and green, right?
It's just green. I love green, but the color on the that we want to go back and paint the windows and everything is the same color that's been on it for the last 50 years. We're just going to go back with the same color. It's kind of a gray. It's a gray color.
I think it's great. My only question was I didn't want to be in conflict with that new ruling on that, so that was my only question. Does anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
What they've told me, of course, they've been on there since 1929, and what they told me is, I guess there's another bureaucracy somewhere that wants to get an easement, and they've been Sherry's been kind enough to say, well, when you get this, then you can apply for an easement. But we haven't applied for an easement because they said we weren't supposed to apply it until we got your approval.
Came before here, yeah. I think the city's trying to clean a lot of that encroachment agreement with all the business owners downtown, just to protect their liability too.
The one thing I saw in the brochure on page 2, on line, I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 line, says downtown San Angelo, prepared by HHM and retained its national and local historic designation. The Cactus Hotel does not have an official designation from anybody. The city council just plopped one on us.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I think I'd like to get an understanding and reasoning how I can get a registration on my property without me applying for it. Apparently,
That's
they
something,
just
yeah.
plopped
I
one
think
on there.
that's when that company came in and they were just trying to figure out what different properties were, and I don't think it was actually an official designation. I think they were just trying to give us some guidelines to go with
Right.
for the priorities of historical significance to each building.
But
Yeah,
we do
but
have the
sometimes
downtown
when it's
district.
printed somewhere that you're a national registered building, and it's not, if you don't question it,
Sure, I
then
understand.
all of a sudden you become a national registered building.
Yeah, that's something.
And there are a lot of implications to being a nationally registered anything.
You're right.
Are there any other questions about what we're trying to do?
Nope, I think we're good.
Second issue is, there's this other plan we have was to have a historic it's a historic New York designed canopy that comes out like you've seen on the streets of New York. It's a covered canopy. It comes out from the building out. And what we applied for that for was to do a special entrance for the speakeasy, which is down in the basement. That canopy came out to be an indicator where it is, and also to add some color and charisma to the building itself. Having a special feature on the building is not detrimental to having a monotone group of canopies on the rest of the building. I don't think that detracts. In fact, I think it adds when you add and you know more about color and character.
I think that's going to be on a separate project. I mean, that we're just voting on this particular awnings right now. That would be something you would have to resubmit and
Exactly. I
start
think
over.
we
We
need
can't,
to
we
resubmit
can't
it
do
and
anything
bring
with
Well,
it
that.
forward.
what they're asking you to do is to vote to have me take it away in order to get your designation. That's what this recommendation.
Okay, so we didn't,
You can
that was never
remove
brought to
that.
us on that number 4, that was to get rid of that other awning?
Yes.
Okay, see, that wasn't made aware to us.
Well, to get rid of my ability to put that awning up. There's
Oh.
several $1,000s invested in that awning with,
So is it up now?
no,
It's
no,
never been put up?
Never
It's
been put up.
Okay, was it ever voted on by DHRC?
I'm sure
How did all this come about?
it went all to
was-
city council.
I believe it was voted on by DHRC a
How long
number
ago
of
was
years
that?
ago.
Because I've been on this board for 9 years. I've never seen that.
I don't know when it was, but
was a
it was a
long
good
time
while ago. But now
Well-
things have really changed a bit because the tenant I've had in the basement for the last 15 years, it could have been 15 years ago when I was trying to get all that done. They've decided to vacate. So
Well,
I'll be more active in trying to market
Well, on something like that, then, like I said, we'd have to have a lot more information for me to vote on that. I don't know. That was
Well, I
not
just
brought
don't
to
think
our
it's
attention,
Oh.
that awning was already made and somebody voted on it. And, I mean, if it was that long ago, I don't know if there was a DHRC board 15 years ago.
Mr. Pfluger, is the awning already made?
No, but I have the permission to make it
Oh,
whenever I
okay,
get a
so
tenant.
it's not made.
It's not
Okay, so
made.
then that's
Right.
going to have to be a separate case brought to this
Bring it
board
back,
for us to
or
vote
to
on
bring
it.
it here.
You're going to have to
Why
bring
could
that
it
back.
not have been,
It's already been approved by the city council.
But
why wasn't it brought with
Yeah, why
these
wasn't it
metal
brought
awnings
before our
today?
board?
Why didn't we get to see all of it today?
And-
Is there,
And why do we have to get rid of that one in order to approve these?
let's backtrack here. Here's what I see. If it was voted on by city council, it must have been before this board was set up, because nothing goes before city council unless we approve it here. Then if it's a questionable deal, then they vote on it. So that must have happened years before this
Quite a
board
while ago, yeah.
was established. So that's something staff is gonna have to look into. I'm not gonna vote on something that I had no part of, or this board had no part of. I don't think we wanna be liable for that. So I think we need staff to research that and find out. And if they did approve it and city council says it's okay, then, and gets us out of it, then I don't have a problem with it. But
Certainly, the historic district had not been established at that point.
Exactly.
With the different criteria. So I
Yeah.
think that is real important that we take
Correct.
a look at it
So
under
I
that
think-
terminology.
what I would like to see, if we're gonna vote on this, I think number 4 needs to be taken off of that, excluded, and then that needs to be researched, and they will get back with you on it. And if it's been approved, then you're good.
Well, I've been on this project 40 years
Yeah.
trying to make it,
Sure, no, I
special. So,
understand. I
yeah, it
understand.
could have happened 25 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't
because
remember how long
never
ago it
remember
took.
seeing that.
Mr. Chairman,
okay.
so I looked up the instrument number in the property records. It was done in 2016.
that approval?
This license agreement that's on number 4, yeah.
Okay,
that
but
was,
did it go before DHRC? Or was that just a licensing agreement just to get the
It would have been
encroachment?
approved by council, so if it had to go to DHRC before council, then yes, but ultimately, council would have been the one.
They did
that had to
approve it.
Approve it, yeah.
Then that's something legal's gonna have to say yay or nay on.
But if you would, I just don't think it's appropriate for this body to be saying, well, you got to rescind that in order.
Oh, I agree. We didn't know what that proposal was on there. There was, so.
Thank you very much for your consideration. Are there any other questions? Thank you kindly.
We'll close public comment. So
I
do
think
we need to go ahead and exclude
No,
that from our?
There may be other people that have public comment, other than the applicants. so-
Yeah, does anybody else have any public comment? Here we go. Please state your name for the record.
Zane White, District 6. I think this last little exchange here is a really good example of checks and balances not being followed through with. I've followed I just moved back here. I'm a native guy, moved back here after 30-something years away, and I've begun following the municipal functions, particularly city council, the last year or so. And consistently, when it comes to planning and issues like this, I've looked at the videos here for the last year, you're getting a lot of stuff from staff constantly with, yeah, we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, we're not sure. Yeah, we'll fix that right up. But I don't see any verification of it. I'm sure there is at some point, but routinely, it seems to be that the standard operation is, oh yeah, we'll get back to that. Staff, you check that out, and then maybe it gets checked out, maybe it doesn't. I'd like to see verification.
Well, a lot of that's done administratively. Once we send it to staff, the administrator can change, he can make that decision, and that's not even brought back to us. So I see what you're saying, because it's not brought back to the meeting where
Right.
staff said, yes, it administratively was approved by him.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
So where can the public go to follow up and see that verification was done?
If it's a particular item, you can come into our office and ask that item.
There's nothing online, there's no particular thing that we
They
can
usually
tap
don't.
into?
Are you asking specifically about this previous license agreement?
Not this situation
Okay.
particularly right now. Now, would that require a PIR? Because just about everything I've asked for recently, I've been told, no, that's a PIR situation. So are you saying I can walk into the office? I don't know where your office is, by the way. Is that City Hall?
No, it's the building next door, the old
Okay.
library building.
Okay. So I can walk in and I can say, hey, I saw the video on this last meeting, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to check out this, we're going to check out that. Can you go ahead and verify that those things were checked out, that they were followed up on? You're telling me I can do that?
I'm telling you that if it's something like what you're asking right now, and he's asked for the information, and you come in a week, and we say, this is, I got it on.
I think the biggest question is, he's asking, is it made public record where it's established, where there's a record saying that when I want to have you staff look at something, can he come in and go, yes, that was verified by the director, and here is the paperwork that
Right.
says, yes, this was changed? I
Right.
think that's what you're asking.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And
Why-
that's a fair question.
Yeah, and why we suggest a PIR is because a PIR has more weight, so it moves to the top of our list of things to address.
Of course, you've got a 10-day wait usually on PIRs.
Well, and PIRs are for records specifically. So, I mean, there's no obligation to answer questions where you're not asking for records. So, I mean, if you want verification, ask for specific records that would verify that. And then if we have them, yeah, we would provide those records.
I didn't understand much of what you said. It seems kind of circular.
It's not circular.
Can you repeat that again?
So the Public Information Act doesn't require government to answer questions. So if you were just asking, can you verify such and such? If there's a record related to that, we could give you the record on it, but we don't have to answer the question. So
Yeah, that's been my experience, is that
okay,
we don't
well,
have to answer the
look
question.
up the Public Information Act. That's where that
So
statute
what you're
provides
telling
that.
me, it sounds like to me, is if I go over here and ask for that information,
Mr. Chairman, I think we just lost a quorum because two of our members.
They had to go to the restroom.
Okay, well, we need to
Right.
recess until
Okay,
they
we need to
return.
take
I can wait.
Let's take a 5-minute recess.
No problem.
We'll be right back.
now that everyone knows that I'm that guy. I don't know why he would put it in those terms unless you already knew, or there'd been a previous conversation, but
I don't.
regardless,
It's the first time I've met you. I don't know.
no, I was talking about,
Oh.
he referred
Oh.
to, this is that guy,
Yeah.
and that implies that guy that I've told you about previously. That's just kind of obvious. I am that guy. I'm that guy that for the last year has been trying to get the city to enforce the city sign code that's crystal clear. There are 3 elements: structurally
We need
sound.
to stay on track on
Okay.
what this
Well,
case is about. So
I'll be getting to that later in this meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So
But yeah, I'm
if
that
we can just
guy.
stay on. If we can just stay on track.
Question. Is this on the agenda? And I just missed it, this,
No, this is public
This is
comments
public
related to
comment.
the awnings.
So we just need to stick with
Related
public
to
comment
awnings.
on
Yeah.
this, on this
okay,
awning
so what
page.
about the awnings?
Yeah, that's what
Well,
he's,
I believe in one of the, I don't know how to work this, but I believe in one of the slides here, there was a picture of a metal awning that I believe is actually on the building now. I know I've seen metal building, or metal
yeah, he said
awnings
they
up.
did a sample
Okay,
so
well,
they could see what it looked like.
and where was the authorization for that? I'm guessing they've been up there for a while.
It did not come through this board.
I
don't
understand
know.
that.
Yeah,
And I think you
That I
you
don't
guys
know.
have kind of gone into that.
Yeah.
There are things that are happening at the Cactus Hotel that aren't going through appropriate protocol and procedures consistently. There's a long history of it from what I've seen. So it's just another example. As far as the sign, the awning that was there, can you run through those slides again? I don't know how to operate this. Okay, right there, back up. That one on the left and that one on the right, the one on the left is either the one that's actually on there or it's almost identical to that. Okay. To me, because you went meticulously into the background with this other gentleman here about it needs to be consistent with the historical, all of it, over and over and over. Now, if anybody in here thinks that that sign on the left is consistent, other than it being green, there's nothing consistent, and sort of triangular, there's nothing consistent about that. It's unsightly. It looks like the outside of a shipping container, painted green, to most folks that I've talked to that have seen it. Now,
The design, I believe, is going to be actually the one on the right, though, is what I understand.
yes.
That's a
That
sample.
was just a sample.
But the one on the right, that's more finished
the one
out.
we're voting
with
on.
with the band around the bottom is the one that we're voting on, that is what I understand they're supposed to look like, which to me looks much better.
it does. It absolutely looks much better.
Yes.
But still, you've got people that are rejected all the time because, the color is not the right shade of gray, the glass is not particular, and this is such a departure from a cloth awning. I believe Mr. Pfluger and most business owners, it's common practice to put an awning up. I mean, outside patios, everybody else does it. And if you have to replace it, then your insurance usually covers it. You pay a deductible, and then you go on.
So do I understand that you feel that the canvas awnings look better than the metal awnings?
Absolutely. I don't think the metal awning should be considered at all because of such a departure, especially since it's at street level. You've got a lot of pedestrians that'll, that's what they're looking at from their cars and on the sidewalks.
Comment for that is I don't believe there's a local company that will even provides the canvas awnings anymore. I believe you have to seek that vendor out of town, which makes it difficult for San Angelo businesses. But I could be,
Probably,
unless
yeah.
there's something that's,
Yeah, I don't think that's the
Popped up,
issue, though.
but I
I mean,
think
we
that
just
makes
need to
it-
I
stay
hope
on
not.
track with
Yeah,
the awning.
I hope
So if we
that's
could
not an
just
issue.
continue with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. As far as it being out of town, I'm sure there are many other stipulations that you guys have put in there, and other San Angelo citizens have had to get that from out of town. So my basic situation is, it's obvious that there's a lot of favoritism going on here and inequity with application of rules and laws. I don't think it's intentional with you guys, at least not most of the time, if at all. But there's a situation where you get a bunch of double speak. You get John James in here. Oh, yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I'll get back to you on that. And then it's done. All of a sudden, it's done. You know, we don't know how the metal awning that's there, you know, it was just done. There's a lot of things in this town that are just done, especially when there are highly influential, highly wealthy people involved that just get overlooked. And I understand the intimidation factor very well. I've been arrested at City Hall for going down and filing a complaint about this. So I'm well aware. That was back in August. Yeah, that's tied up on the awnings. It's unsightly. It's not historically accurate enough. It's not to the level of standard that you're putting on all the other citizens that I've seen, you know. It's just not, and that can be verified by looking at the videos, and I can do that if I need to, and come back and say, you know, this was a sheen finish and this one wasn't. That's almost an eyesore as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of others. Even the proposed design, it's not historically anything close to it. You brought up the historical situation as far as maybe the laws being, we got somebody on staff saying, oh yeah, Secretary of Interior said such and such. I believe you guys should have verification of that. Rather than me going down and having to double check everything, I think there should be a requirement here that you guys, when you ask for something to be done, staff should give it to you and say, hey, this was at the last meeting. This is what they said they were going to get done. Here it's done or it's not. And that'll tie up a whole lot of this BS about, yeah, we're going to this, we're going to that. So I would recommend that. I wish somebody'd make a motion on that anytime there's all these loose ends left out there and you're having to take staff's word or legal's word, that they just verify it. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Appreciate your comment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment, open it to the board. Does anybody have any discussion? Anybody like to make a motion?
What was the final decision on, so if we make a motion, we could take out number 4 if we wanted to? Okay. And then he would have to, Mr. Pfluger would have to go to city to, if he decided to build that other awning to do that? Okay.
We will do the research on that and be able to answer that question for both you and for Mr. Pfluger.
Okay, so would he have to come back?
No, if you just remove that and go with what is presented, that's what you're voting on.
If that condition's removed, I mean, the license agreement's already in place, so it's already approved. So there wouldn't be any need to come back unless, I mean, that design changes from what was approved before, so.
It's something that we're not going to vote on. We're not going to be part of that because we weren't a part of it from the beginning.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve his proposed design with taking out item number 4 on the conditions.
Get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to our next case, DO 22-27, 210 West Beauregard. A request for a downtown design district approval for a 144 square foot wall sign on the exterior of the building located at 210 West Beauregard.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, planner. And this one is the J.C. Chandler Building on 210 West Beauregard Avenue. It is 0.175 acres in District 3, Harry Thomas, the downtown neighborhood, and CBD zoning. That is the picture of the side of the building where the sign will go on. And there you can see an image with the sign on there. It is the exact same as the sign on the front, except for this one adds the phone number. So it allows the advertisement for the business. It is only 144 square feet. It will be painted on the building, and it is only 11% of the wall space. The paint colors will match the sign on the front, being the black and the gray with a little bit of the red. And staff recommends approval with the two conditions that the colors, dimensions, and materials of all improvements shall be consistent with the renderings approved by the Design and Historic Review Commission, that minor deviations may be approved by the Planning and Development Services Director, and that the applicant shall obtain all required permits from the Building Permits and Inspections Division.
Can we see the drawing again? Can you make it bigger? How big are the letters on it? Doesn't really say. The other question I have, is that the way it's going to be? It's not lined up. Nothing is centered on it or anything. Is that's the way they're proposing it to be?
This is what they turned in. Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody from here from? I'll ask that in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Anybody any questions for staff? Okay. We will open it up for public comment. Does anybody here have anything to say about it? There's a sign company here? No, they're not here? Okay. We'll close public comment then. Does anybody, staff have any, board have any questions?
You wish it was centered, or just either to the left or centered in the windows or to the right, somewhere. The placement's just a little funky.
Yeah. That's my issue with it too. It's not centered.
The color red, is that color red?
That's the same color that he has on the front of the building.
Okay.
That's part of his logo.
Yeah, that's his logo.
Does it need to be
To center it, we can,
okay.
or if somebody else has any other comment?
Can we approve with that condition?
Yes.
I move that we approve the signage with the condition that it is centered in between the windows.
Because if you look at I think it needs to be done like the upper part. See how all that's centered? So that's the stipulation that you're going to make?
The J. Chandler line would be centered with the rest of the text.
Yeah. Because it does pass the sign ordinance as far as size and all that. Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Hey, we'll go on the next case. DO 22-30, 353 South Randolph. A request for a downtown design district approval for construction of a 6,400 square foot exterior open pre-engineered metal pavilion protecting a multi-purpose concrete slab basketball court located at 353 South Randolph Street.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry again, and this is the YMCA building. It's on 353 South Randolph Street. It is 4.354 acres in District 3, Harry Thomas, downtown neighborhood, CBD zoning. This is a picture of the current playground that is there. They have moved their preschool area to College Hills Avenue. So this playground is no longer needed. They do plan on, I'm actually gonna jump to the next one. They do plan on, the steel will be the same as the steel in the front of the YMCA building. The sandstone is the same as the building that's already there. This is the site plan. If you noticed, I might go back up one to that overhead shot. So if you notice where the black arrow is right here, that's where it's going. So it will provide a covered area for the outdoor sports. It will be visible from the public right-of-way, and it does replace the current playground, and will assist with the after-school and sports program for the teenage youth. The supporting post and roof will match the current YMCA buildings, so it'll blend in and look like the current structures. The canopy is a high-quality and durable, provides protection from the sun. City staff is recommending approval with the two conditions that the colors, dimensions, and materials of all improvements shall be consistent with the renderings approved by the Design and Historic Review Commission, with minor deviations that may be approved by the Planning and Development Services Director, and the applicant shall obtain all required permits from the Building and Inspection Division. And the applicant is here. If you have any questions, he provided those extra drawings that you guys are now looking at. So if you have any questions for staff?
Anybody have any questions for staff? Thank you. We'll now open it up for public comment. If someone here would like to speak on behalf of this project.
Okay, good morning, DHRC Board. I'm Kai Frankie with KFW Architects, and I'm here on behalf of the YMCA, and Angel Flores is here, the CEO of the YMCA as well, if there's some additional questions there. Yes, the YMCA has moved their preschool program to the old Maurice building on College Hills Boulevard. And so their emphasis is to create that as the smaller age enrichment for that age demographics. The YMCA as a whole doesn't have programming that really fits the need of the teenage demographics. And so what Angel is after is trying to build programs with which that meet the teenage interest. And so she was looking at that south property where that playground is currently and turning that into this open pavilion that she could have activities that are centered around the teen age group, but also during summer programs and things. And so here's Angel. Angel, you want to say a few things?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you guys for having me. Angel Flores, CEO at the YMCA. Like Kai said, we have relocated our preschool program, which was very beneficial for the Y because we are growing out of our building. We don't have the space. And so what I've identified is what we do is we kick our youth members out when programming's happening. So our kids are there, they want to shoot hoops, but we've got volleyball practice or we've got basketball practice. And so they're forced to go home, or they just sit on the sideline and try to get a few shots in during downtime. And so I thought, how can we give them what they need, what they're here for? So the playground, like he said, there's no use for it. We don't have a lot of kids age 3 to 5 that's designed for. So this will give those youth teens the ability to, when programming's happening, they have an outdoor space that's theirs. On top of that, since the chatter of this has been going around with members, pickleball at ROI has grown tremendously. And so our pickleballers already are asking for lines on this court should it be approved. And then additionally, our after-school summer camp program, they, for the most part, are within our walls during the summer months. And there's a lot going on at the Y in the summer months, lots of youth programming, and we're trying to do it all at the same time. And so our summer camp program, they have to basically get in where they fit in, or we cancel programming so that they have a space. And so they're oftentimes outside. You guys saw a turf that's out there, but you've been outside in the summer months and it's extremely hot, and that turf is even hotter in the sun. So this will give them a covered space that's theirs, and on top of that, the plan includes fencing that area in, or for us, it's keeping people out. A lot of the traffic around there, we've got a lot of transients, and time after time, they mix with our kids, and that's scary for us because we never know what we're going to get. Sometimes it's positive, other times it's not. And so we're looking just to make it a safe space for those that use our facilities.
So it can be locked up when y'all aren't using it.
Correct. It's actually our plan to keep it locked at all times. We will have some, in the plan, there's a fence that can be unlocked, but it's our plan to keep it locked. Anyone who wants to use it has to come through the front doors.
Okay. Is there going to be a sport court on this, or is it just concrete painted?
Well, so we have an alternate to provide a sports court on top.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to be, what will be in that alternate is a manufactured sports court. And it is a 5/8 plastic egg crate type court system.
I think it's great. I think the kids are going to love it. I think it'd be
So
a great addition to the Y.
In your packet there, you'll see we have pictures of that language that's just kind of marching along the river there. You have, of course, Kids Kingdom, and then you have that exercise area underneath the bridge. And then there is that outdoor turf area that is currently there at the Y. This would go just adjacent to that. It would connect to that with an opening, it's going to have a sliding entrance that can connect that for interaction between the two. And then, of course, you have the skate park, which is just a little further towards the Boy Scout hut. And so that language is marching along there, and we thought this would be a very good fit. Color-wise, I do have some colors with me as well, so.
Okay. They're consistent with what's on the building right now.
Yes. So if you'll notice, if you can bring up one of those pictures there, probably that one. So you'll see the main trim, the fascia, is this dark bronze.
Mm-hmm.
And then that corrugated side is this sandstone, okay? And so we would stay in that same language. So the structural frame would all be the dark bronze with the fascia, and then the roof and the underpinning would all be this sandstone. So it ties together and it kind of stays in that same language. And if you look on the Y, we have those vertical elements when we designed that back in 2002, and we have the abutments. And so the language of the existing Y kind of ties to this structure as well.
Great design. I think it looks perfect.
I was wondering about the lighting on that building at night. Is it motion, or is it lit up like the skate park, or do you turn them off at a certain point?
Okay, so we do have lighting, and we have it on we brought a jump drive, but they won't let us run the jump drive. But the lighting is low glare fixtures, and they would most certainly be on a timer. So if it is used in the evening hours, it would be on the timer so that they're not on all night long or left on accidentally all night long. But our emphasis will be to not have that glaring fixtures, but also kind of concentrate that light just on the court itself and not disrupt the drive of the riverway.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody else like to speak about this project? Okay, we'll close public comment and open it up to the board. Does anybody have any discussion, questions? Make a motion.
Does the high metal fence, is that okay?
Yeah, the chain link.
on that side by the river, like that's a good, okay.
I like that because it doesn't impede, it's not closing anything in. It still has that open feel look to it. Somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve.
With the conditions, recommended conditions?
Yes.
From staff, okay. Should I get a second? Second from Henry. Have a motion and a second. Everybody all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, that includes all of our cases for today. We can open it up for public comment one more time.
Yeah, this is just a general public comment period.
Okay.
For items not on the regular agenda.
Okay, for items not on the regular agenda, does anybody have anything to say? Nope. Please state your name again, sir, for the record.
Zane White, District 6. Lee Pfluger's 14-story hotel cactus rooftop sign has disgraced the downtown San Angelo skyline since 2005, when Pfluger removed 12 of the 22 gigantic sign letters, reportedly in order to refurbish their interior illumination components. For the 17 consecutive years since, Pfluger has pathetically claimed he can't financially afford to renovate the rooftop sign. Anyone familiar with Lee Pfluger's enormous financial fortune knows that statement is unquestionably not truthful. In the City of San Angelo Sign Code Ordinance, Section 1204001, aesthetic and structural beautification standards are very clearly indicated regarding structures in San Angelo's downtown corridor. In Section 1204014, three primary compliance requirements requiring San Angelo signs are that they must be maintained in a safe, presentable, and structurally sound condition at all times. I'm convinced that last year's inspections regarding the structural integrity and safety of the cactus rooftop sign were illegitimate, but that's not my primary focus here today. For 12 months now, I've endured endless unethical and/or illegal actions against me by Lee Pfluger, high-level city staffers, and city elected officials, merely for insisting that city sign code be legitimately acknowledged and equitably enforced on Lee Pfluger. At this point, I'm convinced this board has been repeatedly manipulated regarding Cactus Hotel projects by City Planning and Development Director John James, and also by city legal staff at the direction of John James' wife, City Attorney Teresa James. City Manager Daniel Valenzuela has for many months sloppily managed the Cactus Rooftop Sign code enforcement scandal. Mayor Brenda Gunner and the entire City Council have been shamelessly complicit. At the January 17, 2023 council meeting, the council ignored my formal request to put this cactus sign issue on an upcoming meeting agenda, thus compelling me to appeal to this commission today regarding one specific question. Do any board members here have the integrity to go on the record today claiming the cactus rooftop sign should currently be considered unpresentable by any reasonable standard? Lee Pfluger routinely requests formal approval here regarding Cactus Hotel project aesthetic standards. I contend each board member here has a professional obligation to immediately, publicly answer my presentability question, yes or no, immediately. Ignoring my question today should tell West Texans all they need to know regarding the ethical legitimacy of this board.
Sir. Okay, is there any other public comment? Okay.
I'm Lee Pfluger, and I own the Cactus Hotel, as you might know. Mr. White has been quite vocal over the last year, harassing the city staff, myself, and he's very calm today. Before, he became very vocal about trying to demean our staff, our city staff, and everything about this sign. We've got about $10 million has been committed to the city, to Cax Hotel. And Mr. White wants the sign done before we get everything else done that make it habitable and livable and safe. I have SKG has gone up there with their contractors. The sign is totally safe. The comment was it'll withstand an F2 tornado. The timing on the sign replacement will be discussed probably at some point later. Mr. White has basically killed an effort I've been on for about 1.5 years to get the sign done and to get it done financially possible. So people just don't want to get involved with him. And I knew that earlier when I was going to visit with you, is that he was going to evolve from, or I felt like he'd go from awnings to the sign. So we had another opportunity now to go to the sign, which is completely off the subject. So I just appreciate y'all listening and being cordial to him. He's got a right to say what he wants to say, either though it doesn't have to be bounded in fact. And I appreciate your opportunity to listen to him and listen to me.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our meeting. Is there any division reports? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Oh.
The next scheduled meeting is Thursday, February 16th at 10 a.m. This time we will be over by City Hall at the East Mezzanine.
Okay, okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Can I get a second? Second. Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Aye.